Well, one of the things that the introspective, contemplative traditions report is that through training one's mental awareness deeply within and attempting to really understand the details of mental experience in some way, one attains or reaches states of great expansiveness and connection with kind of phenomena that are beyond the body in some sort of way, which is not that different from some of the reports that people will talk about under the influence of ayahuasca or other DMT containing plant medicine preparations. So one wonders whether DMT might not be opening a door to some kind of ability to connect with the nature of mind in a way that is very similar to how contemplative traditions describe the nature of mind. Now, the conventional neuroscientific perspective on mind is that it is a product of local brain physiology, that whatever the mind is, it's contained within our skulls or perhaps within our physical body in some way, but it's definitely very much connected with our physical body. And that's I think, a really fine, great working hypothesis that's what's going on, and hopefully will lead to a lot of interesting experiments to test that. But the contemplative traditions usually end up with a very different perspective on mind, that it's somehow kind of transpersonal in some way, that it goes beyond the body in some way, and often people who are very experienced in the traditions of plant medicines like ayahuasca will say very similar things, that in an ayahuasca ceremony there are connections between people and between other sorts of energies that are in the region, in the space in some way, that go beyond the physical body. And I think this is also a very viable and interesting hypothesis, and it would be an incredibly interesting finding for science if there were any kind of reliable, believable, experimentally reproducible, verifiable in the conventional scientific way evidence to suggest that there are elements of whatever our mind is that transcend the body. I think that could be incredibly exciting. It would push the limits of science into a new place, and there's no reason why we can't expect the limits of science to be pushed into new places now or in the future, because that has been the case throughout all of history. It's usually the case it has usually been the case in the history of science that wherever we are, we think we're there. We think we're at the end, that we know it all at this point. That's the way a lot of physicists thought in the year 1900, and there were esteemed physicists giving lectures, like Lord Kelvin in the year 1900, saying that physics has pretty much figured it all out, and all we have to do is dot a few I's and cross a few T's and collect some data to kind of fill in the gaps, and then huge revolutions come and turn everything topsy-turvy, like relativity and quantum theory. And I think that a lot of folks now feel like, we pretty much know what's going on in the body. We've figured out DNA and the genetic code and a lot of biochemistry, and we know how nerve cells work more or less, and even though things are very complex, we just need to keep doing the kind of experiments we're doing for a few more years, decades, centuries, whatever, and we'll have kind of figured things out in some way. I doubt it. I think that if history is any kind of teacher in this, that we're probably we can probably look forward to huge revolutions in knowledge in the same way that we've always had revolutions in the past, and that there's no place that's more ripe for this than what is the mind and what is mental experience, and how is mental experience connected with the physiology of our brain and our body. So anything that allows us to probe more deeply that question I believe can be a piece of addressing what these future revolutions might be. I think cognitive science, mind science, neuroscience is ready for a revolution like that in the same way that physics was ready for a revolution like that 100 years ago.